So the topic, software developers are weird. I know I am. Don't get angry. It's not a bad thing. I mean, everyone's different and everyone's weird. I think weird just means unique. But one of the things we need to remember is that software developers, since I am one, our weirdness maybe stands out more than normal. And here are some of my observations. And this video is for people like us, people who are software developers, or people who know or work with software developers. I asked my wife what that means, software developers are weird. And she said, well, you only wear black, blue, or gray shirts. Well, here I am in my gray shirt, and I would have to agree. I've told other people what she said, and they just start laughing. I think it's pretty funny because it frees up a lot of CPU cycles. I don't have to worry about what to wear. I can pick a black, a blue, or a gray shirt. It goes with everything. My wife also said, when you're with your kind, which is its own thing on its own, isn't it? But when we're together, the things that we think are funny are really strange to her. One thing she said was, it's all about the beta, the tetra, the whatever. To the rest of the world, it means 5. So my initial thought was, well, tetra means 4. But I knew enough not to say that. So here's one thing that makes us weird, is that we care about the details that no one else cares about. But we're going to go over 6 main things that most humans find weird about software developers. The first is we can sit and stare at a computer for hours and it's not a big deal to us. We love the isolation, we love the quiet, we love to be able to think, we love working on our problems, and everything's a problem to solve. We spend hours at the computer and we hate it when people interrupt us because we're right in the middle of something. And part of our job calls for that type of behavior. A good developer will isolate themselves so that they can not be distracted by things that don't matter to the project. So think of it that way. If you put it in those terms, we're really just trying to be efficient and effective. Efficient meaning getting a lot done, effective working on the right things. The second thing we're going to talk about is being an introvert. Most software developers are introverts. Not all of them, but most. I know I am. I'm a huge introvert. I would much rather be alone, be working on something, than to be in a big crowd of people. We go to events, live events, things like that, concerts, races, whatever it is, a sporting event. And that's not really my comfort zone, but I do enjoy the event. But at the same time, I'd much rather spend most of my time alone, which is interesting, or with a small group of people. For instance, my family. I don't really need many more people than that. I don't have a lot of friends, but I have very few close friends. It's not like I have a lot of kind of friends. I have a few friends and I'm really close with those friends. Sometimes being an introvert means you are drained by those parties and groups of people, and I tend to avoid those. One part about being an introvert is that you're self-aware. You're introspective. You're looking at how can I be better? How can I better myself? How can I be more effective in the situation? What changes can I make that will have a big impact? We can't change anyone but ourselves. So being an introvert, even if you're an extrovert, sometimes you need that introspection and that time to think about what's truly important. How can I improve? How can I help others? Number 3 is an analytical mindset. I know I am total analytics all the time. I think like a computer a lot of the times, which makes me good at my job. But it doesn't make me good at being a father sometimes. I work really hard at that, but sometimes that analytical mind needs to be shut off so that you can connect with the person, not try to fix the problem. For engineers, it's always a problem to be solved. Here's the problem, here's the solution, let's go implement it. It's a 3-step process. So there's nothing else. But when it comes to personal relationships, even within a software development team, sometimes there needs to be a little bit of grace or a different way of approaching things. And maybe someone else has a different solution than I have in mind, and I need to respect their solution, especially if it's their problem to solve. A lot of decisions I make are based off of logic and what's best for the situation, what's best for me short term, mid-term, long term. All those types of things come into play. Rarely does it have to do with emotion. Okay, number 4, routine. Humans are creatures of habit, and software developers, engineers, they are even more so creatures of habit. I get up about the same time every day. Sometimes I use alarms, sometimes I don't, and I still get up at the same time every day. My routine is very boring. Get up, exercise, eat, work, hang out with my wife, and do it all over again tomorrow. But there are some, activities I do like to enjoy. I like to go mountain biking. I've been getting into sim racing. I like to play music. We like to go events. We like to travel. And those are great because they are outside of the routine. They make me get out of my comfort zone. When we travel, we have a very few, just a few things that we'd like to get done. We don't pack the schedule with tons of events every second of every day. So it's a time to explore, to get out of my comfort zone of the routine. And one place where routine really comes into play is during a software project. If I have the same routine, everyone knows I'm going to be at my desk working at certain times. They can reach out to me if they need to, if they have something urgent. They know that if I have that routine in place, that I'll put in the hours, that the work will get done, and that, we'll be successful in the end because of the routine. All right, number 5, limited human interaction with others. I say that tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but our role doesn't really require a lot of interaction with other people outside of the project team. We are not a customer-facing role, and that's good and bad. It's good because we can focus on what we're good at. It's bad in that it doesn't allow us to grow as much as people with those types of human interactions. It doesn't let us show our uniqueness to the customers, but sometimes that's stressful for us. Sometimes we don't want to talk to customers. So cold calling, for instance, if you're a sales guy, not my jam. Yes, I've done it, but I do not like it. These videos are outside my comfort zone, but I'm starting to learn to enjoy making them. And working mostly in isolation is maybe a strong word, but sitting down and working on a problem on your own is the most effective way to solve the problem. I know a lot of times, in the early 2000s, there was this bullpen mentality that you'd have this open room, all these desks, and everyone could collaborate. Well, some of those got so loud, it was really difficult to get any work done. I worked on one project. I had to be on site. It was one of those open office environments. They had this cool old building in the downtown area. Super neat, super cool, lots of hip people that were way younger than I was. And I enjoyed that environment until it got time to get to work. So as I'm trying to concentrate on solving a problem or debugging something, figuring out why something's not working, trying to implement a new feature, I could not concentrate. I had to bring in headphones, full over-the-ear headphones, wore those every second of every day, try to get something done. People would come over, try to interrupt, and it was just so loud. That's one of the times when, it's even better to be isolated, have a door, have an area you can call your own so you can go get work done. All right, number 6, people are messy, computers are not. The classic time when I've noticed this the most is raising our family. When I tell my computer to do something, it is exactly what I want. And if it messes up, it's because I told it to do the wrong thing. Now with our kids, sometimes I would expect that same response. I know anyone else who has kids, I'm sure you're dying laughing because they have their own minds. They make up their own decisions. They don't always use logic to make decisions. And since I use logic a lot, that can cause a little bit of internal conflict for me, or it did when I was a young father trying to figure out how to wrangle these kids together. They just did what they wanted. There's like no order, but there really is. So in that situation, I had to get out of my comfort zone again and try to figure out what they wanted, what they were working on, what was important to them. not what was important to me, because that doesn't really matter a whole lot. What matters is, how are they growing? How can I help them? It's not about me at that point. But back in the developer and engineer brain, we'd much rather talk to computers because we think like a computer does. A computer doesn't even think, it just follows instructions. Even AI, artificial intelligence, it's not thinking, it's seeing patterns in things and following those patterns. But engineers and developers, we'd much prefer talking to computers versus people. People are messy, people are unpredictable. All the accidents on the road happen when we're driving because someone does something that's unpredictable. If everyone was entirely predictable and always was situationally aware of what's going on, we wouldn't have accidents. But that's what makes us human as well. Just like no two people are the same, no two software developers or engineers are the same. I have my quirks, I have my black, blue, and gray shirts. I still laugh about that. I do own some khakis, so there's some things that aren't blue or gray or black. But pretty much, those are the colors of clothes that I wear. It's easy. Another quirk that I personally have is everything's a problem to be fixed. I mentioned that earlier, but that's how I look at life. Everything's a problem. Here's the problem. Let's find a solution. Let's go implement the solution. And it's an iterative process as things continue to change. I think one thing I would say as a summary for this video is that we're all weird. Every single person is weird. One of the interview questions I like to ask when deciding to hire a new team member is, how weird are you on a scale of 1 to 10? If they argue about what weird means, they're not a good fit for us. They're not a good fit for me. I need someone who's comfortable in their own skin, comfortable to say, yeah, I'm weird, and here's why I'm weird. And with the knowledge that I'm going to reciprocate that as well. I'm not going to laugh at them because they're weird, because I'd just be laughing at myself as well. But if we find something that's funny about our weirdness, yeah, we can laugh about it. We can laugh about the colors of shirts that we wear. We can laugh about the way we analyze things that's different from most people. But I think the most important thing when interacting with anyone is to just give them a little bit of grace. Just try to find the common thread, the commonality, the common experiences, what we have that we share. I think most people, even engineers and non-engineers, are more alike than we are different. And I think that's one of the problems, that we're focusing on the differences. But let's flip that around. Let's focus on the commonalities. Let's focus on what we can achieve together instead of what can we do to tear apart someone else. So I hope you found this useful. I'm weird. You're weird. It's okay to be weird. Just embrace your weirdness. Embrace your uniqueness. And go share that with the world.